How are you, developers? I hope you are fine. Today, we'll be diving into the world of HTML media. As we all know, the web isn't just about text anymore. It's a dynamic environment filled with rich multimedia content, from images, videos, and also audio clips, which make the web very interactive. HTML provides powerful tools for embedding and adding media content seamlessly within web pages. And in this class, we will explore the various HTML elements and attributes dedicated to handling media content. We'll learn how to embed videos, audios, also iframes in our web pages, ensuring they load efficiently and display correctly across different devices and browsers. So without much ado, let's dive in. If you've been following the course, you are aware of a repository that we forked that contains the essential resources. So to access today's notes, just log into a GitHub account, go to the repository that you forked, and you'll notice that you are behind, and click on the sync fork button, then click on the update branch, and your branch will be up to date. After that, you can open your favorite text editor. Mine is Visual Studio Code. Then open the terminal, and first open VS Code, then open the cloned repository. Then open the terminal and use the git pull command to put the changes in your local machine. This ensures you have the latest notes for the course. Once you pull the changes, you'll see a new folder there called 10 media. And inside that folder, there are two files, the index.html file and the readme file. The index.html file is the file where we'll write our code, and the readme file contains the notes that we'll use in this course. So I'll just open the readme with my Markdown previewer, and I'll open this HTML here. I'll close this one. I'll close my Explorer. So in this way, I'll have my readme on the left, or my readme on the right, where I can get the notes, and my index.html file on the left. So I'll just write my boilerplate there, my HTML boilerplate, by clicking on Shift, then 1, then I hit on Enter. Then I'll rename the title from document to HTML media. Like that. Then I'll save my code. So now we're ready to begin the class. So now let us start learning about the HTML media. As you have already said, media on the web is sound, music, videos, movies, and animations. And also media comes in different formats. Formats for videos can be either MP4, AVI, for music can either be MP3, like that. And you can know the format by looking at the extension, the file extension. If a video has the .mp4 file extension, that means the format of that media, of that video, is MP4. And that is how you know the file extensions of media that's how you know the file extensions. So in this course, you learn about how to add videos and audios in your web page. So we'll start with learning about the HTML video. So to add a video in your web page, you use the video element, like this. It's a video element. And inside the video element, you'll add the source element. Source, not the source that used in the images, this source element, that one. And this source element is where you can put your src attributes. You remember the src attributes that we learned in the images? It's similar. It's just the same attribute here. And we learned that in src, you provide the URL of the media that you want to add there. Like in images, you provide the URL of the image. Now that you're adding a video, you can provide the URL of the video. So I'll just go to my local machine and take a video, and to make my life easier, I'll just put the video in the same directory as my index.html file. So I went to my video, I copied the video, and then I put it in the same directory as my HTML. You can see here is the video. So for me to access this file, I'll use the relative URL. We say that in the source you provide the URL, and the URL is just the path to your image or to your video. The path to your resource that you call the URL. So in my case, I use dot slash. Dot slash, I mean in the current directory, because I said that I'll put my video in the current directory to save me some time for me to locate my image. But there's also this dot slash to indicate the parent directory. So you can see the options here change when I put the dot slash and the dot slash. The dot slash means get out of this current directory and go to the parent directory. So in the parent directory, I can access things like these other folders here, and this path can go long and long, can nest the path like that to go to a desired location. And but from in my case, I'll just write dot slash, then I select the outro.mp4. That is the file I was selecting. And when I do that, I can just save my code. Now let's go to the browser and see how this code looks like. When you go to the browser, you can see the video is here. But you can notice that the video, it looks like an image. Someone cannot tell whether it's a video or an image, but you can see it's here, but it's not playing, it's just stagnant. So let us go back to the code and see how you can make this video to look like a video, not an image. So let's go back to our code. We saw the video looked like an image because there's this attribute we did not add in our video element. So to make the video to start playing automatically when the user get to the browser, you can add this autoplay attribute in the video element, not in the source. In the video element, you can add the autoplay attribute like that. And as you can see in the notes here, the autoplay attribute starts a video automatic. Here is it. To start a video automatically, use the autoplay attribute. So if you want to go to the browser and see your video playing, you can use the autoplay attribute. Now if you save this code, you can save this code and you go to the browser and see how the autoplay attribute has effect. You can see when you add the autoplay attribute, the video is now playing, and that is how the autoplay attribute works. It plays automatically when you add that attribute. There are some other attributes that you can use in the video, and this attribute we looked about them when we're talking about the images, the width and the height attribute. So here in the video, you can add the width attribute, and we said that if you put the value here, for example 320, this will be the value of the width in pixels. So I'll just put the width there and the height here as 240. So the video will have a width of 320 and a height of 240. I think this attribute, we already talked about them, and we said that there is to adjust the width and the height of the video. There's also another attribute called the, I think my video is playing. We'll talk about how to control your video later. You can hear the background noise of the video playing. So there's this attribute called muted. If you put the muted attribute, it will make your video to be muted by default. So if I save this code and go to the browser, you'll see that my video will be playing because of the autoplay attribute, but it will not produce sound because of the muted attribute. And also the height and the width will be adjusted because I put the width and the height attribute. So let us go to the browser and see the effects of these attributes that we added. So if you go to the browser, you can see our video is now playing, but it does not have sound because we put the muted attribute. And now you can see it's a little bit smaller because we adjusted the height and the width attributes. And it's playing automatically because of the autoplay attribute. And those are the important attributes that you can use to control how your video behaves. So now let's look at another attribute that is very important. The next attribute that we learn is the controls attribute. And the controls attribute adds some video controls buttons like play, pause and volume. So let us add the controls attribute and see what the controls attribute comes with. So I'll add the controls attribute in the video element, like that, controls. And you'll notice that controls, autoplay and muted attributes, they only have a name and no value. We looked at attributes that have name only, and these are the examples of those attributes that only have the name. So let me save this code. Let me go to the browser and see what the controls attribute introduced to our video. So when you go to a browser, you can see our video is auto-playing because of the autoplay attribute. And when I hover on this video, you can see there's this progress bar here. It comes with the control. There's this pause button. There's this button to unmute and to adjust the volume of our video here. There's this full screen button and these three dots you can use either to download, use playback speed, and use picture-in-picture. And all this functionality, like the full screen, all of these came with the controls attribute. Another attribute that we'll talk about is the type attribute. And the type attribute is put in the source element. Here in the source, there I put the type attribute. And this type attribute specifies the media type, or it is called the MIME type of the resource being linked. And the MIME type tells the browser what kind of file it is, what kind of file you are trying to put, and that way it allows it to choose an appropriate way to handle the resource. So it is important for you to put the type attribute when you're adding a video. So to put the type attribute, we just write the value will just be video, then / then the extension of the video, like MP4. And that is how you add the type attribute. So the function of this type attribute is just to allow the browser to choose an appropriate way to handle this resource. So this type attribute helps the browser, so you cannot view it in the browser. When you're talking about images, we talked about the alt text, that in case the image does not display, it is the text that will display. So in video, we don't have the alt text, but you can put some text here inside the video element. Maybe I can say your browser does not support. Like that. So this text will be displayed only if the browser that someone is using to run this code does not support this video. And you can see here in the notes it's saying that, where is it? The text between the video tags will only be displayed in browsers that do not support the video element. And also there are some extensions, like let's say this MP4. You can provide the same video but with different extensions. You just have to put another source element like that, and maybe there is the same video but different extension. I'll just provide another extension, let's say AVI, like that. So in this way you'll provide the same video. You can only use, if there's one video tag, there'll only be one video. But if you put two sources, the browser will choose which appropriate source to display. If it cannot display the AVI one, it will display the MP4 one. And that is how you put that is how multiple sources can be used in your video. Sometimes you want to add some text or captions in your video, and to do that you use the track attribute. So I'll just show you how to use the track attribute. The track element, not attribute. So I'll just put the track element there. You can see it's self-closing tag, and the track element has some attributes like the source attribute, and here you put the URL to your text file, or the file that contains those captions or subtitles. You put that URL there. Then there's this source lang, which will specify the language that your subtitles are in or your captions are in. Then there's also this kind attributes. Which kind are you, what external text are you providing? Are they captions, are they chapters, description, material, or subtitles? You can choose from these available options here. So I'll just select subtitles. And sometimes there's this label to label your captions. I'll just say label English because maybe there'll be English subtitles. So I'll just say label English. And this is how you add some subtitles in your video. So I don't have the subtitle text of this video, so you'll not see this track in action. But this is how you use the track element to add subtitles or captions to your video. I said that you can add an additional source here with a different extension, but what I didn't say is that if you add another source with this extension, you have to have this file in your Explorer, because if you don't have this file, you cannot add a path to a file that does not exist. So you have to add, this was just for demonstration purposes, you have to add a path to a file that exists. So if for me I don't have that file, so I cannot add it there. And also this, I can just comment out this track because I also don't have the file. But that was just to teach you how to use the track and the additional source element. So before we finalize about video, we'll talk about the figure element. When we're talking about semantic tags, in last week's class, we mentioned the figure element, but we did not look at how it is used. So today we'll see how the figure element is used. So the figure element is used to group content such as images, videos, diagrams, illustrations. So the figure element is just used as a container to group elements. And the figure element is a semantic tag to indicate that something that is inside there is a figure. Like an image or a video, it's a figure. Or maybe a diagram or an illustrations. All of them are put inside the figure element to indicate that it's a figure. And that figure element helps screen readers to know that the thing that is inside there is a figure. So to add a figure element, you just use the figure tag like that. Then I'll put this video element inside the figure tag. I'll nest it. And that is how we said to put an element inside another element is called nesting. I'm just recapping the previous classes so that you cannot forget them. And also the figure element comes with this fig caption element. So you can put the fig caption element here below the video or above, depending on where you want it to appear. But most cases the fig caption is put below the figure, not below this thing, either it's an image or maybe a video or anything. Below that thing that you put there, you put the fig caption element below it. But the fig caption element has to be inside the figure element. You can see it's a direct child of the figure element. Then inside the fig caption is where you write your caption for your video, or maybe your title. I just said your video caption here. Or this video is about it's an outro, so you can say this is the outro. Like that. So let's go to the browser and see how this fig caption element will be displayed. Let me save the code first. So when you go to a browser, you can see that this caption is below the video here. And that is how the fig caption is used. You cannot see the figure element because it just is for grouping these things. And when the screen readers come to this place, the screen reader will know that this one is a figure. And also it will read out the fig caption. And that is how you use the figure and the fig caption elements to group your video. And the figure and the fig caption elements improves accessibility because they are semantic tags. So that is it with the video element. So the next element we learn is the audio, is how to add audios in our web page. So I'll just put a comment here and say audio element. Also I should put a comment here and say video element. We said that comments are used to document your code, and that's what I'm doing here. I'm just documenting my code so that I can know here I was teaching about the video element, and here now I'm teaching about the audio element. So to add the audio element, use the audio tag like this. That is how you add an audio to our website using the audio tag. Also, just like the audio is just similar to the video in a wide amount of things. For example, you can also add the source here, just like how we did in the video. You can add the source, then provide the src attribute, then here you can provide the path to your audio. You can see I have already put my audio here. It's here, it's called lights. I put the audio there, so I'll just link it like this, like how we have discussed earlier, / then name of the audio file. And that is how you add an audio to our website. But let us save this, then go to the browser, then you can see the difference between the two. Let me save this one. So let's go to the browser. So when you go to the browser, you can notice that there's no audio added in our page. And this is because the audio element is not visible on the web page by default. It requires additional attributes like the controls attribute. Because the control attributes provides a user interface for playback. So the audio element will not be visible to our web page until we add the controls attribute. And as you have said earlier, the controls attribute adds a set of controls to the audio or even the video element, allowing user to play, pause, adjust volume, and also more functionality. So without the controls attribute, the audio element will just be embedded in the page without any visible playback controls, and users will not have an intuitive way to interact with it. So the audio element is here, but now we cannot see it because there's no way we can interact with it. And to provide a way to interact with it, we have to provide the controls attribute. I think that is clear. So let us go to the browser and provide the controls attribute. Let us go back to our Visual Studio Code and provide the controls attribute. So to solve the bug that we had with the display, you can just add the controls attribute like that. And when you save, you can go to the browser and confirm that the audio is now visible. Now when you go to the browser, you can see our audio is here. And the controls are there, so you can play the audio. When I was 16, you can pause it, you can adjust the volume here, you can reduce the volume, I can put maximum, I can mute it. And also there's these 3 dots, so you can download the audio and adjust the playback speed. And all those comes with the control attribute. So let's see other attributes that the audio can have. The audio can also have additional attributes like the ones we saw in video. The audio can also have the muted attribute, can also have the autoplay attribute. You can just add them. We have already talked about them. The autoplay attribute makes the audio to play automatically when the browser is run. The muted attribute makes the audio to be muted by default, so until the user puts some volume, the audio will not have any sound. And the other attribute you can talk about is this one. Not an attribute, but also the audio can have this text here. In case the audio does not display, this is the text that should display. You can say your browser does not support the audio. That is it with the audio, because most of the things are just a repetition. So we'll go to the next thing, that is the iframes. So we'll just put a comment here below the audio, and I'll just say the iframe element. And the iframe element is used to embed other HTML document or external content within the current document. It just provides a way to include content from other sources, such as external websites, documents, or media into your web page. So in this class, we'll talk about how to add a YouTube video in our web page using the iframe element. So an iframe element is just written like this. Just write there an iframe, and inside the iframe you can provide the source. Here you can provide the source, the src, and say that the src, you add the URL of the document or the website that you want to be linked here. But in the case of a YouTube video, we'll just copy all the code from YouTube, and I'll show you how to do that. So let us go to YouTube and see how we can get the code of our YouTube video and we can use the iframe. I've gone to YouTube and I've clicked this video here. So to get the iframe, you can just hit on share, then come here to embedded, because I've said iframe is used to embed other documents or other external media. And if you click on the embedded, you can see there's this code here. I can just highlight it and copy it. I'll just hit this copy here, and it will copy this code. You can see this code is an iframe. So let us copy this code and paste it to Visual Studio Code and analyze it in the Visual Studio Code. So I've copied the code. So let me now head to my Visual Studio VS Code. So once we are in VS Code, you can just paste our the code that you copied here. So I'll just replace this mine. I can just delete it, then I paste the code that I copied. Then I can save it. So you can see that the code that you copied from YouTube, you can see it has the width attribute. We already know about the width attribute. It has the height attribute. You know about the height attribute. It has the source attribute. And you know about the source attribute. And there's this attribute called title that we have not talked about it. So the title attribute is used to provide a text description or label for the embedded content. And it is important for accessibility purposes because it helps screen readers and other assistive technology to convey information about the content to the users who may have visual impairments. And that is how you use the title attribute. And the next attribute is this frame border attribute. And you can see it is set to 0. And the frame border attribute is used to control whether or not the border around the frame is displayed. And if the value is 0, it indicates that no border should be displayed. Like here you can see the value is 0. So it says that no border should be displayed. And if the value is 1, it indicates that the border should be displayed. And that is how the frame border attributes affect our multimedia or our media. The next attribute is the allow attribute. And you can see it has some values there, autoplay and others. And the allow attribute is used to specify a set of permissions for the content within the iframe. Or just in short, it is used to control what actions are allowed within the embedded iframe. You can see here there's this autoplay. So this it allows autoplay, and this accelerometer and the other attributes and the other values for the allow attributes. And that is how the allow attribute is used. And there's this allow full screen. As the word suggests, allow full screen is used to grant or deny permission within the frame, either to be displayed as full screen. So if the value is true, it means that it will be allowed. If the value is false, it means that it will not be allowed. So you see there, allow full screen, that means that the value is allowed to enter full screen. So let us save this code and view it in the browser and see how this will look like. So when you go to the browser, you can see our video is here. And this video is from YouTube. And all the code that we used here to enter this video in our website, we copied it directly from YouTube. And that is an easier way to add a YouTube video to your website. You can just go to YouTube and add the video. You can see when I hit on play, the video will start playing. And the controls are here. You can just adjust them. You can add subtitles here. You can see that the options are there. You can see the options are there. Everything that is visible on YouTube will be visible in this embedded feature here. And that is how you say an iframe is used to insert another HTML document in your page. So let us look at another way to use the iframe by inserting a map in your page. So to add a map in your website using the iframe, you can just open a new tab here, and I'll just go to Google Maps by clicking on this and then go to Maps. Yeah, the maps are here. And once you're in Maps, you can just search for any location. For my example, I'll just use my current location. Let me just zoom out. Let's just say I'm here. I'll click on the location that I want. When you see I click on this location here, then this will pop up. When this pops up, I can hit on this share. Then you can see there's this option for embedded map. I can click on this embedded map here. Then you can see there's this HTML code here written in iframe. So I'll just copy that code. Then I'll go to Visual Studio Code and paste my code. So let us go to Visual Studio Code and paste this code and see how it looks like. So I'm in VS Code. I'll just put some space here. I'll paste the code of maps here. That is the code that I copied. Then I'll hit on save. You can see that the attributes are just similar to the one that we saw. So I'll just save this code and view it in the browser. So you can see there's the source, the width and the height, the style, the allow full screen, just the similar attributes that I've been talking about. So let us go to the browser and see how this map looks like. So if you go to the browser, you can see the map is here. This is the map that I copied, and you can see there's this minimize button here, and this expand to zoom in and to zoom out buttons. You can see those buttons on there, and you can see you have now inserted a map inside your website. And this is important when you want to show someone your location in the map. And you can also notice that all these elements are inline elements. That's why you see they're on the same line. But this one is in another line because we put the figure element, and the figure element is a block element. So this is not on the same line with this ones because this is surrounded with that figure element. But since the other ones we just surround them in figure elements and they're inline elements, that's why they're on the same line. And this maps is greatly used. For example, in the programmer's website, they use the maps. They use this idea of maps. The idea of inserting maps into their website, they implemented that idea in their website. You can see it here in the contact page. I just go to contact, and you can see in the contact page they put a map there to show their location, and they used an iframe to put this. You can just inspect this code. Let me just inspect it. You can just inspect this code, and you can see here. Let me just scroll down inside this div. Inside this div, yes, you can see the iframe is here. They use the iframe tag to insert the map inside their website, and that is how you insert a map in your website using the iframe. And that is it for today, guys. See you in the next video. Peace out.